All right, so what's the missing piece for Georgia as we go forward here in spring ball in 23? There's not a lot of them. I'll tell you that right now. We've talked about this a lot. We don't know who the starting quarterback is going to be. We've got a pretty good indicator there. I would say, frankly, the missing piece we don't know for sure yet is who the fifth starting lineman will be on the offensive line. I mean, stick with me here because you got it. And I sometimes I turn the screen, but I'm not going to tonight. This is where our board is. You know, at linebacker, that's not going to really be an issue for Georgia. You look at quarterback, they've got multiple, five-star guys. Running back looks pretty good. Receiver, there's no superstar receiver on this team. And we've seen teams like LSU, Alabama, Ohio State, they've had superstar receivers. It's not prevented Georgia from winning the national championship the last 2 years, but they don't have a superstar receiver. Keep the comments to yourself on that front. No one's saying these guys are bad because they're not. At tight end, they have superstar. No question there. Defensive line, it's really solid. I don't know that they have a superstar there necessarily. Linebackers are really good. They have some very good defensive backs. I think to some degree, place kicker is an issue too. But who's going to be the fifth starting lineman in this group? Because, really from the starting national championship and Peach Bowl games, you've got one guy that's gone, and that's Broderick Jones, not Warren McClendon. So Warren was a starter, but essentially he got hurt, and he, in the LSU game, I think it was LSU game, didn't play against Ohio State at all, if I'm not mistaken, and then played not a lot against TCU. So that line went, and don't kill me if I get it completely wrong. Mims was a tackle with Truss. Okay, you got Mims, Xavier Truss, Tate Ratledge, obviously Cedric Van Pran in the middle, and you also had Broderick Jones. So you've got a tackle situation here. That's the question. Who is the tackle that's going to come in? Because the passing of Devin Willock, who was an interior lineman that played a lot, that takes away another person, unfortunately. And I think Ratledge is just a guard. That's what he is. Does Truss go to the outside? Is it time for Morris to come on with the outside? Is Green, the freshman, going to be on the outside? So there's a lot of options for Georgia, Stacey Searles, Kirby Smart, Mike Bobo, as they get ready for this season. We don't know yet, though, who that person's going to be. So that's number one in all of this. And I think with you've got a couple guys I just named that have been starters on the outside. Xavier Truss started the Peach Bowl. He also started the game against Missouri, if I'm not mistaken, is going off the top of my head. And then obviously Mims is an outside guy, so you're good there completely. But the interior of this thing, let's just say Truss stays inside. You got Truss, Ratledge, and Van Pran. I mean, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good start. And you have probably a first round draft pick in Mims hanging out at a tackle. Now, out of the other guys you've got, can you find another tackle? You got Hughley coming in. You got Green, as I said. You got Morris, the kid from Camden. So you've got options. And I think that is the thing I will look at the most, because for me, when you have your offensive line set, there's just so much you can do. You can just run the ball. Like, you want to run the ball, you just run it. Like, it's good. The other team's not going to stop it. You're running it. I mean, it's just what it is. So I think that's for me, that's something that's important. Once you set your line, you're in good shape. Now, I say set like there's never going to be any changes. I mean, we see guys get hurt. It happens. I mean, Tate Ratledge was lost in the first play of the Clemson game in 21. You saw at the end of the season, the most important time. Warren McClendon's not playing. So and last year they had Warren Erickson, they had McClendon, they had Willock. They don't have those guys now. I mean, very specifically, they don't have Erickson, they don't have Willock. Those guys who played a lot on the interior, they're not there anymore. Obviously, on the outside with McClendon and Jones, those guys are gone as well. Now you can easily replace one of those spots with Truss. Or excuse me, with Mims. You could replace the other side with Truss, but does it make sense? I'm asking. I don't know. I don't know the answer. Does it make sense to leave Truss on the inside in favor of someone else on the outside? Because if a sort of more natural, guy is on the outside, you got to figure out what the best combination is. It doesn't always have to be that your best tackle is playing tackle. Well, I'm saying that wrong. It doesn't mean that your best lineman has to be a tackle. Cedric Van Pran is probably he's certainly their wittiest. He's their, guy coming back, and he's going to be their most important guy coming back. If you want confetti with your double dogs, you need to order, and it needs to be soon. You're going to have until midnight on, 11:59. Let me not say midnight, so it's confusing. If you want double dogs and you want confetti, order now. When's after 11:59? If it's on Thursday, it ain't happening. So we're done with the confetti. The confetti phase of double dogs is over, and just order it now, and you're good. If it's after that, the answer is no. And there's nothing. There has to be a cutoff time, and we've hit it. So I'm not going to be at a point where we're selling confetti, books that have confetti with it, and we don't have confetti. So we're at the point where I'm not comfortable going any further. So get it now. It's worth it. A lot of people have been very excited about it. People are already getting it. And get the orders in now if you want it. But I think, I do want to touch on too, you need a kicker. I mean, you're going to have someone's going to have to be the kicker. And, Georgia's got two guys that are, were scholarship, are scholarship. I can't figure out what Jared Zirkle is. But, there's going to be a kicking competition. They have been really fortunate during Kirby's time to have kickers that really made it work. I think Jack Pod was better than Rodrigo was, but that's me. Rodrigo was like a cultural phenomenon. I'm not hating here, whatever. It's great. But Jack, I can't remember him missing a kick that hurt Georgia. Did he miss a kick in the Ohio State game? I don't remember that off the top of my head. That's another thing about Double Dogs. We go hard and deep on that Ohio State game. I mean, like that's like 12 pages of the book. So if you do not get the book for any other reason, first of all, you should get the book. But that Ohio State, like, that's not online anywhere, and nobody's gonna be writing about it online because they didn't talk to all those guys. We did. We spent the whole day talking to guys about the Ohio State game. So that's not going to be repeated anywhere else because a lot of the guys we talked to, Jalen Carter, they're gone. They're out of the program now. So I think, though, comparing Jack to Rodrigo, I mean, Rodrigo made some big kicks. That kick in the Rose Bowl, that was a big deal. But I will go back to, and it wasn't a hard kick, but the kick against Kentucky, I mean, that was a game-winning kick, first of all, with time ran out. Yeah, so that was a lot of pressure there. The game was tied, but still. And then, kind of his ballsiest kick, Rodrigo, was the Notre Dame kick. The game was on the line there too. But if I'm comparing to, I would take Jack Pod just only because he was more consistent, generally speaking, in big moments. I mean, the national championship game against Alabama, Jack, he kept them in that game. And, they don't have that now. We don't know. I mean, they don't have Rodrigo to depend on. They don't have Jack Pod to depend on. Those guys aren't there. So someone's going to have to, get out there and deal with the pressure. And, like, if you can't deal with the pressure in the spring, if you're not the better kicker in the spring, you're not going to survive Neyland. You're not going to survive Jacksonville Georgia you need the extra points. You need those kicks. You just do. And um, those two spots for me are important. Who's going to replace Keeley? Who's going to replace Christopher Smith? Look, Georgia is going to be okay on the back end in terms of replacing players. But I would say almost really the kicker spot is the most like red siren kind of alarm, and we don't know. I mean, some guys come in, Billy Bennett, and they're just good. You don't even mess with Billy Bennett. Billy Bennett knows what he's doing. Brandon Coutu, these guys, they just know they're good. Nope, we're good. We're out here stroking kicks. I mean, it's just what it is. But Georgia very rarely in time has not had a good kicker. It's happened. It's happened, but it's not been common. So they will create an atmosphere in the spring that will create drama, and that's what you need. Thanks for watching. Sign up for the newsletter down below.